While millions of people depend on agriculture for their livelihoods across Africa, agriculture can be a large contributor to national greenhouse emissions, ranging from 20% in some African countries to 80% in others. This is mainly due to deforestation for farming and pasture, livestock rumination, and nature. As part of United Nations Paris Agreement, African governments committed to cutting their greenhouse emissions. However, due to challenges of funding, they often lack reliable data required to calculate agricultural emissions. To stay within the 1.5 degrees Celsius goal limit, global emissions need to be cut by 43% by 2030, but current plans will only achieve about a 2.6% decrease. For this reason, the International Livestock Research Institute, ILRI, which is one of the CJR centers, established the Mazingira Center in 2014 to help farmers make more production while reducing the sector's greenhouse emissions.
Basically, why we were brought to life was to measure the greenhouse gas emissions footprint from livestock in Africa, because there is barely any reliable data on this. And we can measure all the different emission sources in a livestock system. We can measure emissions from animals, from their manure, from the soils or the grasslands that they graze on, and also at what we call ecosystem scale, or even using remote sensing technology with our partners. And we're not just looking at the emissions in isolation, but we're always trying to look at emissions together with productivity, because the aim is not to just reduce emissions no matter what. The aim is to allow for low emissions development. So we want to give room for productivity increases while keeping emissions as little as possible.
ILRI works to improve food security and reduce poverty through research for better and more sustainable use of livestock. As the International Federation of Agricultural Journalists Congress 2025 opens, a section of journalists under the Young Leaders Program visited the Mazingira Center at ILRI's main campus in Kabete, Nairobi, Kenya. What exactly happens at the Mazingira Center? One may ask.
And our main entry points are improved feeding, improving the quality of feed, improving the feed availability, especially during times of feed scarcity, like during the dry season, or looking at animal diseases, because a sick animal is less productive, less efficient, and with that the emission footprint is also higher. And through closing nutrient cycles. So when it comes to animal manure, we want to make sure as much as possible of that manure is recycled back to crop fields or to forage production fields or to the grasslands, and less is wasted. And by closing these nutrient cycles, almost always you can also somehow reduce emissions.
The Mazingira Center in Kenya is one of the few places in Africa with state-of-the-art equipment needed to make climate research possible. However, more of such centers need to be established.
Of course, we're here in Kenya and Uganda, but in reality, at least you would need 4 Mazingira centers to cover all of Africa, or better, even 20. So it's still only a start when it comes to climate change research. Yet we know that climate change is not waiting until we've set up more of these labs, so that sometimes it feels like there's a lot of interest, but there's only so much that you can do, so we would need more of these research infrastructures to cover the entire continent.
Reporting for Mesha at the IFAJ Congress 2025 in Nairobi, I am Christine Ochogo.